3:33 a.m. Reoccurring date and location. A smirk played along his lips as he ran a gloved hand down the cold pane of frosty window. Such a magnificent view of Paris you have here, he paused, his eyes slipping closed as if in deep thought. Although I doubt you care very much about the scenery at the moment, and it's not quite the same as Denmark, now is it? His smirk grew. A figure writhed in soundless agony behind him, clutching at the lavender bedcloths, as if her very life depended on it. Her mouth hanging wide in a breathless scream of pain. The dark figure by the window only chuckled. Such a plague they are. He opened one eye to reveal a scarlet iris, glimmering wickedly in the light of the full moon. Dreams. The bed creaked and groaned with the struggle of the said dreamer, fighting some manner of demons in a world that only existed in the unconscious state of mind, completely unaware of the dark figure invading the room. Pity, really, how easily you are manipulated. The man inhaled deeply, his voice deepening into a purr. Only a nightmare, really, yet because you are human, you will never begin to contemplate why we prey on you so. He turned from the window, his outline cast by the moon, his shadow tossed over the panting figure on the bed as he stalked closer, bending down so his massive nose was only inches from her rosy face. My darling, shall I make this nightmare vanish? He breathed tauntingly over his prey's slumbering face, her eyes scrunched in the center as a soft whisper escaped her parted lips. Shall I presume that is a yes? Honestly, humans were so vague. He sighed impatiently. Now that is not the way to answer a question. Awake, dear one, and in a soft, predatory undertone, he added, for the last time, nevermore. Her eyes fluttered open, glazed with sleep and pain. The color was extraordinary. They were of the richest blue of the deepest depths of the ocean. Oh, how he would love to see that color fade. What, where, who, she mumbled, looking around wildly. Her heart pounded violently. The sound of it made his feathers stand on end. His stomach growled. What was that voice just now? Was it just by her imaginings? She put her head in her hand, shaking. Maybe the doctors were right. Maybe she was insane. Or it could just be a nightmare. They'd plagued her for years, only worsening since her pregnancy and engagement. Later, it was the same thing over and over, such a horrible dream that would haunt her forever. Tears now slipped from her eyes as her shaking grew worse. The world was stained red, bodies flung everywhere, faces she knew and recognized as ones she cherished and loved. Such a nightmare, yet it didn't seem to go away with her eyes open. Even her rich, purple bedroom curtains seemed rust-colored now. A nightmare of the future of this world, such a frightful phenomenon, no? Red like the tired canvas with stained blood. Paris, perhaps? Or no? Maybe even home? A deep, alluring voice echoed in the gloom of the night. Her heart skipped a beat. Sweat broke out over her body and her shaking grew more violent. Who is this? I demand you to show yourself at once, she ordered, although her demeanor was far from threatening. Could this thing, hear her thoughts too? Like a scared rabbit cornered by a hungry wolf, the man observed from the darkest shadows of the room, his eyes the deepest ruby shade now, a hue matching the blood. Demand? Where do you get the authority to demand such a being as myself do your will? The man finally stepped forth from the shadows. Fangs lined his bottom lip across a wicked smirk, and his gloved hands were crossed in front of his body. From first appearances, he looked like a nobleman. A knight, maybe? Someone important. She knew this much based on his simple, elaborate, yet formal attire. Handsome, long black hair swept into a low twist at the nape of his neck. A dark cloak rested upon his shoulders, fluttering about him like wings. But upon closer inspection, something wasn't as it should be. It was as if he were changing with each blink from human to bird and back again. Now, he had a long, deep, pointed beak in place of where his nose should be. Yet seconds later, it appeared as a human nose. It was odd, really, and familiarly terrifying. She sat straight up, determined. She had to be dreaming, and only she could control her own dreams. She had not invited him. He he'd just come in, again unannounced. Under the authority, sir, that you are intruding on private quarters, my bedroom, she hissed, drawing the sheets closer to her chin, as if that would ward away her oddly handsome and dark intruder. Finally. Funny, he replied nonchalantly, as if not hearing at all. Earlier, while you dreamt so deeply, you did not complain one bit about my presence. His smirk, if possible, widened as his fangs glinted even more dangerously.